What's going on, traders? Welcome back to Start Swing Trade, where we talk about the swing trade action and not a bad day. Guess what? Another green day here. Let's talk a little bit about it. Let's take a look at the action right now in the queues. Then we'll get to the stock trade action. I'll show you guys exactly what I'm positioned in. So definitely smash the like if you guys are here for that. Let's keep going. Let's take a look at the queues here. Of course, it's been trying to make a move back up through the 387.30 area, but you can see that we've been fighting towards the 386. We've also made downside action moves towards like this 383.56. And if we break 384, I don't think we'll be able to hold on to this rally. And if I think about it in the daily terms, how are we doing here, right? Are we overextended? I talked about this yesterday about historical RSI. I referred back to it multiple times, right? Well, there's not many times that the Qs have gone above the 91s or 90s. As a matter of fact, I can only see what? 1, 2, 3, 4 times that this has happened. And this has all been what? Before 2002, back in 2020, when we were going higher and just ripping through the moon, in 2019, and then also this kind of 2019 also, in June, we also made it above that 90. So what does this tell me, guys? This tells me that doesn't mean that the stocks have to turn around today. But will they turn around? Yes, at some point they're going to turn around. And are they closer towards the end than the beginning? Yes, that's what this tells me. And like always, I take a look at indicators, not necessarily as I need to go in specifically because it's at 90, but it tells me to pay attention that the indicator says no more rally. So I need to look for it to see if I need to rotate with my swing trades to stay on top, because that's really what we're trying to do here, right? We're trying to make money. We're trying to swing trade, and we're trying to continue going. So sometimes the market is going to rotate against you. What must you do as a trader? Well, as a trader, we need to be nimble, quick, flexible, be willing to let go of a position because you've made enough and the market is rotating against you, keeps the green in your pocket, and also gives you the ability to start hedging in a different direction or going for uncorrelated assets so that you can hedge into what could potentially be a pullback. So let's get to the action. Let's take a look at some of these stocks. I'll show you guys it right now. Let's go towards now my trading action. Let's take a look at how the swing trades did today. I've been showing you guys more and more kind of the trade the pool account. So let's show you guys that and some of the swing trades that I have on there. Overall, I do have 5 positions. I still have Ultra in my main account, but I'm leaving that one alone to just continue working. No other swing trade than that one on, but in this account, I did cut the Ultra today. I cut it here. You guys can see it, and I'm going to make the filled orders a little bit bigger so that you guys can see this. So let me go ahead and do that. Just give me 1 second here. Let's pull it up. All right, there you guys see it here, guys. So you guys are going to be able to see what I sold today and where I took some profits. XLE, top trade. I got to admit, this is an insane amount of like action in just overnight, right? Like overnight swing, I normally don't get that good of a trade. And I'll be honest, it normally takes like 2 or 3 days to get this type of move. XLE yesterday, it was hard to get short on it because it was really kind of being a strong day, but that's exactly what I did. I was talking about a move back to this long-term trend line and then trying to watch that reject and come right back down. So trying to short into that 85, 86 range, right? Well, I got 85.58 yesterday, and this came down pretty fast, guys. Already back down there towards the 82.80s. Today, I took some profits towards 83.16. So not mad at that. Going to continue to let this work to see if it doesn't come back. I mean, you guys can see where I'm at. I'm all the way up here. Price action all the way down here. I'm going to continue to let this swing work, but there's also something you see here, right? You see my stop loss and it's in the green. So at this point, this trade cannot become a loser. Once I take first profits, a lot of the times I'll let the trade continue to work to see if it continues working in my favor, right? Giving me the reward, the money that I'm looking for. And I'll also set a break even stop out a lot of the times because at this point, I don't want to lose money. Even if it comes back to me and stops me out, at least it kicks me out, but with that first reward, right? So this is why you hear sometimes traders talk about reward one, reward two. Will I get two rewards on this? We'll find out. But like always, one of the things that I'm worried about is just protecting my capital. Once I make it, I can set that stop and let it keep working. Same thing I'm doing in American Airlines. I've let this kind of push, and I'm going to continue to let it push. But if it comes back to my break even, I'll get out. Now let's talk about the new trades that we had on, right? We did have some new trades on also. Yesterday, we did take a little bit of the SQQQ and even added some during here. This morning, I added even more. I'm up there towards 70 shares of that SQQQ at a 16.19 average price. I've been letting the stock try to make that run today if the market wanted to come down. So this is my attempt to what? Get some of the money on the turn, right? If we turn, this will get me back some return. I think that's very important to kind of keep your eyes out for. And worst comes to worst at this point, I'm not going to lose on this position. I have it 1 cent down from my entry. So I just get out, kind of break even. And I think that this is important to kind of take a look at that, right? Because let's say the Qs do drop down and we do go back into the gap, right? That would be a massive move right back down, right? Look at the gap. There's a nice gap right here towards 378s. Will we come back to that level? That's where I think to buy the dippers would come back in. And I'm not saying that the rally's completely over with, but it's something that I'm keeping a close eye on. And I definitely can see it overbought, right? And that could eventually turn this right back to the downside. I'm keeping a close eye to see if we close above 386 today, because that could still just drive this right back up and stop me out. But to tell you the truth, either way, I'm okay with it. This gives me the opportunity to make the cash. And if I need to, I can get out slightly, break even, 1 cent off. To me, that's still break even. All right, how we doing out there, guys? It's good to see you guys. Say hello in the chat if you guys are new to the show. And this is where I show you guys exactly the swing trades that I'm looking at. Take a look into the sectors and industries that I see rotating. And of course, keeping an eye on some major movers. You guys smash the like. Let me know what trades you guys are watching, and I'll make sure that I cover them here. All right, let's keep taking a look at some other trades here. I did open a new position in Apple today. And yes, I am shorting Apple. This is kind of like a rocket move that I'm being able to short. But how did I go after this? Well, I went after this with a daily gap. There's this clear, defined daily gap right here towards kind of this 191 all the way down towards like 187.26. And so I saw that gap fill and I was like, will we reject there or go above it? I'm willing to take a shot on the downside here that Apple has maybe just come too far too fast, right? Same thing that we kind of did here. We went too far too fast. And then very quickly, we closed down on one day. And the very next day, you probably weren't able to catch that open as it just completely came back down. That's what I'm trying to do here in Apple. If it does come back here towards the end of the day, I can get out of it. I can always get back in. Now, one thing I cannot do is get in if everything gaps down and I just completely miss the trade, right? That's what I won't let happen now. And now what am I looking at? Well, I could just think about this as a bullish tune, right? If I was bullish, I would look for a breakout back above the 190s and looking for a clear defined breakout through the 191. There's a reason why I'm risked right above the price action. I could lower it down towards my break even at this point, especially as it gets closer towards the end of the day. Let's say at like 350s, I'll just lower the break even stop out. For any reason we get a pop towards the end of the day, I get out and I can always get back in. Now, if this does drop down below and we really start to downturn like that, well, it's going to be a great swing trade. This is what I like to do. Give myself the opportunity to make the cash and let the market do the heavy lifting for me. I don't need to be lifting it up. The market can do that all for me. Either take it down or lift it up, right? We'll find out. All right, what's going on out there? Roxanne sold my Intel yesterday. Wish I would have waited now. I mean, you can't be upset. One of the things that you can't be is trying to like change that subjectivity, right? What do I mean by this? Don't get upset when you take profits if that's where you felt the need to take profits was there. Now, what you want to do is look back and saying, am I maximizing my profits? And if I'm not, what are some of the things that I can use to help me maximize it? All right, let's keep going. Kevin, what are your thoughts on crypto for the ETF? Well, I think it eventually comes out, Kevin. I definitely do think that that will come out. I'm just not the biggest proponent of cryptocurrency right now. Like, I don't trade it. And so I don't think that my opinion here really matters. But overall, I think the ETF goes through. And in the long run, that could help like stocks like BlackRock get another lift, and we'll see. Because the real question is, when does this come out? Is it going to come out next week, or is it going to come out somewhere down the line? I think at somewhere down the line is more your answer. I don't see it coming out right now, but of course, cryptocurrency could continue to run just based on that speculation. And yesterday we did have Riot. I was able to sell it in the morning because I thought it would come back below my entry, which was right around like kind of 1034, as I kept adding and adding and adding to that one. And you guys can see it. I took it out as a gain this morning just because I didn't feel comfortable in the way the position looked. Now, here you guys see me taking more profits, right? I took my profits off on Best Buy today, took all the profits today as this came right back down. And could I rebuy this? Yes. But in my case, nice little 9%, 8% in 3 or 4 days. Yeah, I'm going to take that money and I'm going to head for the hills. All right, let's continue watching. We'll see what happens on that XLE and other action. Now to get you guys over to the sector and industry part of the day, where this is really the bread and butter, right? This is why I feel like I'm able to find some trades sometimes, is do what, right? Stay with the rotation. Look to understand sector, industries, and intermarket analysis. Let's get to the action. The Qs are trying to continue through the 386 level and continue pushing towards 387. We'll see if we can get this break towards the end and continue just squeezing out some of the shorts. One thing that was very interesting for me today is the amount of stocks that were actually green, yet every sector from the open, except now technology starting to get the lift, only 0.12, is in the red, yet we're not going red. That tells me something. That tells me rotation. Look to find the names that are staying strong. So what does that tell me? Well, Intel. Sorry to say it, Roxanne, but it's a part of those names, right? Generac getting a little bit of a lift there. DXCM. First Solar even getting a little bit of a lift today. AMD pushing stronger. Allstate, Carnival Cruise pushing stronger. Royal Caribbean. We'll see if this kind of changes tunes. Now, one thing that you don't see is really kind of the bigger names, right? The high cap names, some of the leaders, right? Apple, just barely green, now trying to make this move. So this is something to kind of keep an eye out for me. I'm actually even going to watch it here as it starts to come back on me. I'm up 22 right now. Could I take the 22 and run? Yes. But if for any reason I do get that downward turn that I'm looking for, it's going to be way lower than today's even low. So I'm not going to get out of that one, but I might go ahead and lower down my risk here as we're getting closer and closer towards this little pop. All right, we'll see what happens if Apple really does get the lift here. But let's go back to the chart. I just set my stop a little bit different. So if you guys see me focus on another thing, it's because I'm taking care of those positions. They matter to me. I'm not just going to let them go into the red. All right, let's see what else is going on here. You see NVIDIA continuing to push right back to 494. So kind of like a little bit of a mixed signal here on NVIDIA, as it definitely is high on the what? The historical RSI. But when will this turn? That's why it's no guarantee that it has to happen today. And that's why I don't just short everything that's at, like, let's say 90 RSI. I always wait to start seeing it turn and show me that positive confirmation where you're now getting the indicator to point to a direction and the price action's going that way, and it makes sense. We'll see what happens there. All right, let's go through different stocks out there, guys. You guys let me know what caught your attention today and what stocks kept on the move. All right, let's keep going. You guys see technology is the only area that is green today. Industry wise, what's doing well? Internet content, semiconductor equipment, and semiconductor. What's doing bad? Electronic gaming pulling back there. So you got EA pulling back to 133s. Take Two still staying hot, man. This was one that I talked about that if they released the game, and we all know that the game is, right? That's Grand Theft Auto during the holiday season, this could actually really rock it. We'll see what happens on Take Two. Not a bad play. I just need a pullback. I like how you went sideways today, didn't break the low of 152.58. And I think that's a good level to look for on the downside. If you're on the upside, you know you're out because if that breaks, you're right back down. But we'll see if it gets through these highs. There's some highs that it needs to get through 156.21. All right. I didn't catch what indicator says the rally is over. Gemini. So the key there is the RSI. So this is right here, RSI. And the key there is what is it showing on the Qs in reference to its historical RSI readings. This is why I talk it, and this is why I call it historical RSI, not necessarily just the RSI indicator. Because if you study RSI, they're going to tell you the classic. They're going to tell you the 80-20. Above 80, it's overbought. Below 20, it's oversold. All right, let's keep going. Let's get out of technology. Basic materials was hot earlier in the day and turned back to the downside. Gold and silver doing well there. Coal was doing well earlier and then just flipped, man. I missed this opportunity because out the gates, it was actually doing well while energy was getting smacked. Why was it doing well? Because there was stocks like this, HCC, that was actually making a nice little uplift. METC was trying to continue that uplift. Now that's starting to break down. So is this an area that I could be looking at? Yeah, doesn't look too bad, especially if oil continues to break down. I think coal eventually breaks down also. Utilities in the red as those turned around. Energy, of course, we've talked about that and how that's been just kind of continued to get hit. But we'll take a look at that right now. And this looks like it's just now starting to come back, but there's still opportunity here. Halliburton was one that I was looking at. This looked ugly as it started to break the 38. And now it's going to be down there towards a low of 36.47 and could keep going lower. A lot of these names can now essentially start to really kind of break. This Phillips 66 was still near the top of the range and had tried to get back above 116 multiple times. Now it's rejecting that 116, going lower through the 115, and could eventually go through this 108. Valera was one I had earlier on for this action for the downside. And look at it today. It comes back up, hits resistance. In one day, it does the down action again. That tells me weakness is in. All right, let's keep going. I'll take a look at Tesla for you, Angel. Just stick around. I got you in just a second here. Communication services also coming down. I was going to take a look to see if Verizon was going to go red, and it has gone red, right? It has pulled back, but not as weak as I expected it, seeing that communication services was a second leading downside action. Netflix still hanging in there. Cyclicals, of course, including more of your lodging and your restaurants. Those have been doing well. Specialty retail has been doing well, but now starting to pull back, especially after Baba. But PDD's in the green, and so is Amazon. That's where it gets hard. One of them is red, two of them are green, and two of them can really kind of lead it here. Even Melly doing pretty well. So it's a little bit of mixed signal here in the cyclicals. Footwear and accessories still in the green. Nike continuing, but some of these names took a hit today. Deck on still in the green. Crocs now starting to take a hit. And that was really all based off of the downgrade that Dex Outdoors got. And I think that affected the industry. Let's keep going. Let's get out of this. I can keep talking about this area. Leisure still in the red, yet you still have some of these names that are doing pretty well. RCL having a pretty good day. CCL having a good day. Where it struggled in lodging. Airbnb pulling back a little bit today. And let's take a look at lodging overall. Let's take a look here to see how that's doing. Let's take a look at like Hilton. Hilton, kind of sideways action there. Let's take a look at Marriott. Marriott continuing. So interesting to see Airbnb so weak on a day where Hilton and Marriott were pretty strong. So interesting to see that. Let's keep going, guys. Real estate has been a really hard hit down sector. It continued down today. It got it like a day or two of pop, and now it's right back. So this looks interesting for me to start looking at shorts, but I don't really short REITs and I don't really trade them too often. So I'm going to leave them on the sideline. I just wanted to note it so that you guys can keep up with the action. Definitely smash the like if you guys like me going through sectors in industry to point out what really is hot. Is it a certain sector? Is it a certain industry? Because when we can catch industry-wide move, that's truly how we find the rotation. That's what I look for. That's my bread and butter. All right, let's keep going. Let's see what else is being mentioned here. Of course, industrial is starting to turn around, and this could be a big turnaround. Like CAT off of this kind of 250 area. This doesn't look too bad. The stock is coming back right now, but if we get downside action throughout the weekend, or let's say tomorrow, and then see the weekend, bring that downside action, well, this isn't going to be looking too bad. Let's go to Tesla. You wanted to take a look at that, Angel. I got you. Tesla's just weak to me, and it did come back here towards a gap fill, but really rejected that gap filled hold. You can see how we wicked here yesterday, went to 246, but where did we close? We closed to 241.51. Then today we try to make a move back to 242. We get a wick there towards 242.19, and then right back down. So this is not looking good here in Tesla. In my eyes, this looks like it wants to get right back down and test down at least towards like kind of like the 220s. We'll see if it gets the bounce. Of course, it does have the Cybertruck release coming soon. So hopefully that can give it the lift. But right now it is on the downside. Money Mitch, Mondelez is still a short up here. Honestly, I've been battling on that one, Kevin. Myself has been thinking about taking a trade again on that one. I'm out of the trade recently, and I did get hit on this one. It wasn't a monster hit, but did get hit. And I've been trying to look to see where could we see some topping action. On Wednesday, this went to 71.70. Right now, it's starting to break. What I did is I put alerts below this trend line. So let me know when this gets back to 68, low 68s, and then I can short it knowing where my risk is. Right now, I feel like I'm trying to short a moving train, and it's been strong. As of late, look at the RSI, though. This is where I start to get a little bit more interested in a name like this because the RSI is starting to what? Head down off the sideways action. And if it does start to break back towards 70s, it could just follow that action and start to break back down towards, let's say, 65s, or maybe coming back and filling this hole in this gap to 66. So not a bad outlook there on Mondelez. I'm glad you at least brought it up. And it still looks like it wants to turn around, but right now it's still pretty hot and still holding in here. We'll look to see how Hershey's kind of performs also. This has been trying to get the bounce. I'd like to see this right back down. Let's go to the Qs, guys. It's 3:54. You guys keep throwing up stocks. We only got a couple minutes left here before I'm out of here, and I want to cover as many as you guys can throw up. So keep the tickers going. The sleeves are coming up. Let's get to the action, team. What do you got for me? All right, DWAC. Well, you know what I call these guys, right? The guys that bring up DWAC, Jared. I'm sorry, man. There's the DWACers. The DWACers, because this literally this gets out of whack all the time. Where you see these huge pops, but what do you see on every single one of these pops? A drop that follows, right? So I think that that's very important to kind of catch and see that downside action come right back down here. So not looking too bad, but I'll tell you, it is trying to come back up through these levels. Can it really get moving? I don't know, man. This is going to be more dependent on Trump to see what happens next year. Maybe that he puts out certain content on there that it can get it going. But how has Rum done? Rumble, of course, is kind of one of those kind of conservative and we can talk about that platform, right? That's very similar to what Digital World Holdings would be there, and that's come down. That has not gotten the love it needs. DWAC, I think it could get the spikes, man. But I'll tell you the truth, I'm not going to short this thing because that's shorting like just trying to ask for it. But the truth is, I don't think this is going anywhere. It could get a lift, just maybe based on what happens, but we'll see. Hey, Money Mitch, please let Triple D talk. I'll pass on that one. He doesn't let me talk sometimes, so I think it's just going to be that battle, Abe. That's just how it goes sometimes. That's how it is, Hellfish. Disney, I see this as a turnaround to the downside. Why? Because I see it as a buy the news, buy the rumors, sell the news. I talked about that they would get towards their bets and start to get the lift. Of course, ESPN bets and things like that. Give them the nice little push. I talked about it getting to 95. There's a little bit of a gap here. Very similar, right? Where there's a gap above where it could either go through or it could start to turn around. I like the 95 turnaround, but I'm not even going to lie. A little part of me is already getting interested in shorting Disney. There's not many times where it gets to this historical RSI. And their report really wasn't anything that was great. This is all, I think, based on hype that was going to come on the 15th. It's here. Now it's the 16th. Now I can see this probably turning back down. We'll see what happens there. Money Mitch, where can I get a Benzinga hoodie or long sleeve shirts? They only have t-shirts. On our swag store, we should have a hoodie, but I'll make sure that I get it up there, Kevin. I'm gonna update our swag here, especially going into the end of the year. I'll make sure to also maybe do a little bit of a giveaway for you, Kevin. So maybe you can win that Benzinga hoodie, but definitely smash it up there. Real Righteous TV. Hey, glad to give you an outlook. My thing is just it's super overextended, and a lot of people were buying the rumor, right? I was even one of those people trying to buy the rumor. I was trying to play it with pen, but you guys can see the Disney move. And I was even talking about this just when we were on this little bunch up. I just missed this kind of breakout on Monday. You guys can catch that talk on live trading. We have a live trading show every single day, right? Starts up at like 9:05, goes to 11 a.m. I definitely check it out, Real Righteous. All right, let's keep going. How we doing? Lucid trying to close over 430. Lucid is just kind of a bounce back in the industries as the stocks bounce back. It's like looking for the trash, right? It's like Fisker. It gives us it's just hanging in there. Lucid needs to just hang on here, guys. I don't see Lucid going anywhere anytime soon. It needs to raise money. It needs to hold that money. And that's why I'd be careful with these, because they're going to need to raise money and keep on the survival path. We'll see what happens there. All right, EJ, you want to talk about VMW? Let's get to it. Look, I went to EJH. Let's get to that one, VMW. Let's take a look. I haven't seen VMW in a little bit here. Sideways action on the daily, right? Let's go to the weekly. Let's go back a little bit. What have we been seeing on this? So it looks like this thing tried to make like a cup and handle look here. Gave you even the attempt to break out, then failed. Came all the way back down towards long-term support. We finally broke out of that kind of range right here. We made that breakout all the way up to 180, then pulled back. This looks to me kind of like a 1, 2, 3 attempt move. And then now it's giving you that A, B, C type of retracement. So we'll see what happens at this point. Can it get back above the 150s is going to be very vital, but it could come back towards making like a right shoulder. So it could make like an inverse head and shoulders kind of pattern where you get a little bit of a move back down towards the 200-day exponential moving average, and then comes back through the 150s and 160s. Right now, I can see the short term coming towards that support and then looking to maybe swing it back to the upside. And here it goes, guys. There's the bell. As quickly as we talk about it, there it happens. And look at the cues trying to make that up move right now. This is going to be vital right now. I think the first 15 minutes, what are we going to see? Are we going to just see all of a sudden a leak here towards the next, let's say, hour, or will we see a continued upside move? And with that being mentioned, I'm watching right now the SQQQs. I might cut out of this because below the 619s, I'm not going to risk a single dollar. There's no point in this outlook. I think you've nailed both Disney and Tesla. Hey, the key there is not always to be right, but at least give you guys an outlook that you guys can go and make investment decisions on, right? The value here, like I always talk about it, this will be the pat on the back for me, Jude. I appreciate you. But like always, the results speak for themselves, right? And we got to always think about it in that case, right? The idea is to be thinking about it in what could be happening here. What's the current environment is always my question. Now we're getting to that current environment where I feel like we went from like everybody on the street was bearish to now everybody on the street is bullish. And that's how quickly they can come back and stuff it to us. So we'll see what happens. Like always, guys, be careful out there. There will be some earnings that comes in tonight, so keep your eyes open for that action. That can always change things up. You guys can keep up with all the earnings, of course, on Benzinga. If you don't have Benzinga Pro, of course, just go to pro.benzinga.com. Get your 2-week trial today. You don't even need a credit card to get your 2-week trial. Of course, once you become a member, because I think you'll stick around, you might need it. But if you want to check it out and test it out, take a look, guys. We'll see what happens there. All right, guys, let's keep pushing to the next level. Earnings, that's not the one that I wanted to bring up. Where's the other one? Here it is. Boom. Here's that earnings calendar. Let me get it up here for you guys to take a look at what is on the docket tonight. There you guys see it. What do you get here? Applied Materials, Ross Stores, Gap. Let's take a look really quickly at Applied Materials. Let's go AMAT here. Oh, that's going to help turn the cues a little bit there. Man, that should start getting us a little bit of a leak. I actually don't feel too bad about the SQQQ now. And the Apple trade, I definitely don't feel too bad that I'm holding here. I just got to be smart and continue to watch this, maybe even get in early tomorrow. What do I mean? Well, these are swing trades, right? And one thing about swing trade is that you might need to come in early in the morning. Let's say even take a peek at like 4 or 5 a.m. to see where the stocks open, to see if we're not just rallying back, because that's easily how you come back and you're like, man, what happened? What happened this morning? Well, hey, the early worm gets the bird. Let's see what happens. Will you guys get that money? Will you guys get it? Will I get it tomorrow? Let's find out. Wrong week, Money Mitch? Yeah, I know. This is the right one, right? This is the right one right here, right? I appreciate you bringing that up, EJ, but this is the right one here. Cisco yesterday, Walmart this morning. Yeah, that was the right one there. We'll see what happens. Like always, guys, there's going to be a lot of action coming back and forth. Catch us tomorrow on Pre-Market Prep as I come into the market. Take a look to see if I was able to catch some of this turn. Of course, you guys saw me today take some profits in the retail game. Does that mean that retail's done? No, by no means necessary does that mean it's done. But I had to take the money and run because of moves like this. I don't want to get caught on those moves where we get a nice little rip, 10% trade, and then the very next day it comes back, 4 or 5%. I would have gave up so much gains by not taking the gains yesterday and selling the rip. That's what you got to do as a swing trader sometimes, is take what you're given, and you're not always going to get 20, 30% on names. To me, a really nice sweet spot has been between 4 and 6% when the environment is not like, just ripping, rallying. Right now, we're kind of more in that rally situation. So I can push it up there towards like 8 to 10%. But if I can get 8 to 10% on a swing, taking that money and I'm running. We'll see you next time, guys. Smash the like. I hope you guys enjoy this show. And like always, catch me in the morning on Pre-Market Prep. That starts at every single day at 8 a.m. Eastern. That's our flagship show. See you guys in the morning.